Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. So this is going to be update number 4 on my 2025 Project Pan. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Sarah. I like to record beauty content, so I've gotten into project panning, and I've also done makeup tutorials and beauty box unboxings. If you are interested in that kind of content, I would love for you to like and subscribe and check out all of my other videos. If you're not new, welcome back. Thanks for watching another one of my updates on my Project Pan for this year. If you want to see how my project is progressing, then stick around and keep on watching. Okay, so let's get into the update. So this video is for all of the usage that I had in the month of April. So I'm going to go in the order that I would apply the products to my face. So we're starting with foundation and then working our way to lipstick at the end. So we're starting off with my SheGlam Complexion Pro foundation in the shade Warm Vanilla. Here's what it was looking like at the end of March. I think I was about down to that purple line. It's really hard to tell where it is because the foundation sticks to the sides of the bottle. I had used it 49 times at this point at the end of March. And after 28 uses, here's what we're looking like at the end of April. So this now has 77 total uses in the project. It is definitely down to the last little bits of this bottle of foundation. I feel like it's so close to being empty. Here's my Hourglass Vanish Concealer Mini in the shade Silk 2.5. So this is what it looked like at the end of March. I have used it 57 times by this point, and the goal is to finish it. This is another one that's hard to tell exactly where it is because the concealer sticks to the sides of the packaging so much. Here's what the concealer looks like at the end of April after 28 additional uses. That brings this concealer to 85 total uses in the project. That turquoise mark is my best guess of where the concealer's at, but the goal is to finish this one too. The next thing in the project was this Franken bronzer that's in this Lottie London compact. The goal is to finish this one, and at the end of March, I had used this 50 times. After only 15 more uses, it's an empty. So this is a rollout. So I used this bronzer for a total of 65 times in the project. So I don't think it had very much usage, if any, before starting the project because I made this last fall to be more of a winter shade bronzer. It really was a perfect bronzer to get me through the winter months and then into spring. I went ahead and rolled in a new bronzer, not a new bronzer, but a different bronzer to continue the project. This is the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze in the shade Tantric. So here's what it's looking like at the roll-in in the middle of April. And the goal on this one is 50 uses, just to see how much I can expand this pan. Here's a swatch of the Marc Jacobs bronzer on my finger, and then swatched out on my arm. And this one can be a little bit orange leaning, but after you blend it out a little bit more, it definitely looks a lot more natural. Here's my BH Cosmetics Spotlight Highlight Palette, and I rolled in the shade Vivid in the bottom right corner at the beginning of April. So the goal on this one is to hit pan. It's got a little bit of usage on it, not a ton. I ended up using it 27 times in the month of April, and here is what it's looking like now at the end of April. So it's definitely showing usage. A little bit of a dip is forming right there in the center. I use a very tapered highlighter brush, and so like if you look at Dream, it's the same brush that I used there, so it'll end up with the same kind of dip that forms. Next is my blush from Essence in the shade Befitting. So this rolled in at the beginning of April, and it had a little bit of use on it, not very much, and I put a 30 use goal on this blush. I'm mostly hoping to wear away some of the embossing that is imprinted there. I used it a total of 28 times, so here is what it is looking like now. It definitely looks like some of the embossing has worn down, so it's definitely starting to show a little bit of usage. And this is such a beautiful color for the month of April, like it's absolutely perfect. Since it was only a 30 use goal and I've already gotten to 28, I'm gonna go ahead and roll in the next blush so that it's ready after these last 2 uses. Here's my Beauty Bakery Cotton Candy Champagne Palette, and I'm doing shade number 4 called No Champagne, No Gain. So it's a beautiful glowy blush that's pretty neutral, but a little bit of rosiness. I got this palette last year in an Allure Beauty box, so not a lot of usage. The goal on this is 40 uses. Next is my eyeshadow from the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette in the shade Rich Girl. This rolled in March, and the goal was to hit pan. Here's what it was looking like at the end of March after 9 uses. You can see like a huge dip in that shade. It was close-ish to pan, but definitely had a lot of good usage in there. I was determined to hit pan on this one, so I amped up the usage. After 15 more uses on this shade, I was able to hit pan. Look at that tiny little shiny pan. So this is after 24 total uses in the project. This was a great neutral shimmery shade that went perfectly with so many different looks that I did. This one is a goal met. Hooray! That means it's time to roll in a new palette. So I got the Michaela palette by Glamlight rolled in as my random palette, and so I'm going to choose the shade Glow Up since it's one of the absolutely beautiful shimmers in this palette, and it looks like it'll be a great summertime color. It is starting with a little bit of usage, and my goal on this is 20 uses. Next up is my BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette in the shade Primrose. So this one rolled in the month of April, so it's only had 1 month of usage so far, and the goal on this one is 10 uses. It did not start with very much usage at all. This footage is from when it rolled in. It shows a few tiny little brush strokes, but definitely not very much usage at all to begin with. Here's what it is looking like after 4 uses in the month of April. So not a ton of usage, but you know, it definitely has not been completely neglected. Hopefully you're seeing a few more, you know, brush strokes and a little bit more signs of usage here. The goal on this shadow is to reach 10 uses. Next is my e.l.f. No Budge Shadow Stick in Blue Steel. So this rolled in last month and the goal was 5 uses. It looks exactly the same because I've used it 0 times. Here is the color story that I'm working with as far as bronzer, blush, and my eyeshadows for the month of May. So definitely springtime appropriate. Other than that Blue Steel, I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. Next up is my Misha Beauty lip liner in the shade Madam. So this rolled in at the very beginning of the project back in January, and I had marked a goal line for usage on this. It's a super deep dark color, so not something I wear very often. It was ignored pretty much all of January and February. I used it once. Then I used it 1 time in March, but I used it a ton. And then after 1 more use in April, I was able to meet the goal line. So it doesn't look like much, but after 3 total uses, 1 of which was lining and filling my lips, that is another goal met. Hooray! Hey, Editing Sarah here. So I am realizing that I never took any footage of my new lip liner that I rolled in. It is my Thrive Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Gislin. I'm actually wearing it right now along with a different lipstick shade, but it's like a mauve shade that goes with a lot of lipstick shades that I wear. So I marked in my notebook where it started, but now I have a marking for where it is or where it was at the end of June. So yeah, I don't want to give a spoiler. Anyway, so watch the next video to see where it actually started and how it's going. Okay, back to the video. Next is my MAC Mini lipstick in the shade Super Smooch. So this one rolled in March, and I made myself a little usage goal to use up about a third of what I started with. Here's how it was looking at the end of March after 8 uses in the project. It started basically as new because I didn't have a lot of usage on this when I started. Here's how it's looking at the end of April. So you're not seeing a ton of movement. I did actually use it for 23 days where I applied it, but I have been using it to mix with lighter, more neutral lipstick shades. I think you can even see a little bit at the top. Oh, and there's a little cameo by one of my kids' hands. So when I've been applying it, I've mostly just been dabbing it on top of a lighter lipstick shade to kind of make my own custom rosy shade that's been working pretty well for me for the month of April. This lipstick has 31 total uses, and I've made pretty good progress, but there's still a good little bit left to go. Okay, that's it for today's video. So I had another month where I hit 4 goals in my project, which is super exciting. So I think the one that I'm most excited about is the Franken bronzer that is now all completely used up. And I really did like the process of mixing my own bronzer to take it from what was really, really warm toned and like orangey and making it something that would work more for my skin tone and to make it work for my skin tone in the winter when I need something a little bit lighter. So I'm super excited that that got all used up. It was a great bronzer, and I'm excited to be working some more on my Marc Jacobs one because that's another favorite of mine. I'm also glad to have hit another eyeshadow pan and to have hit my goal on the blush usage. But I think for next time, I think I can amp it up a little bit and maybe get to a pan in that Beauty Bakery blush. We'll see what happens. And then I'm also glad I was able to reach my goal on that really dark lip liner. Well, that is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are following along with my progress. I hope you will like this video and subscribe to my channel so that way you can see when I post the next update. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.